Kız yigit xorlangan, ayak asti qilingan, ezilgan shu xalqimning qo'llarini suygim bor mening. Feryadim osmon felek to'kilgachga qonselda, ejderhanın aksidim, vatanimni algım var mening. Afg'on Uyg'urman, vatan qoldim hargiz ketmagay. Ay yolsuz ayrılığım, gökyüzüne bir gün var mening.
Assalamualaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to a special episode of Talkies Turkestan. I have with my brother Drew Pavlou here. Brother, can you explain what's been happening to you over the past couple of days?
Thank you so much, Aslan, for having me on, man. It's just been an insane couple of days. Basically, I went to the Chinese embassy in London. I wanted to hold a small peaceful protest. I held the Uyghur flag outside, the Uyghur flag, the Tibet flag, Taiwan flag. And the Chinese embassy reported me to the UK police as a bomb threat, as a terrorist. And I mean, as the Chinese government calls any supporter of the Uyghurs a terrorist, they've claimed I'm a terrorist. And the UK police held me incommunicado. They put me in detention in secret. I was held for 23 hours in a cell. I wasn't able to talk to my lawyers. I wasn't able to talk to the Australian High Commission. They handcuffed me in a pressure point position, in a stress point position. It was extremely painful. The metal was digging into my wrists. No one knew where I was. My family didn't know where I was. My friends in London messaged my family. Drew didn't come home tonight. They thought something bad, terrible had happened to me. My mum's distraught, man. I'm not allowed to leave the country. I've got no money to stay here. So I'm facing the prospect of homelessness if I have to stay here. They're saying I can't leave the country or I'll be arrested at the airport. I just can't even explain how insane this situation is. I mean, they interrogated me at 4 a.m. when I was exhausted. No lawyers were present. They basically, by exhausting me and pressuring me, they basically manipulated me into a position where I didn't have lawyers present, and I was doing an interview at 4 a.m. exhausted. They were saying that the charge carries a 7-year prison sentence. They were saying that I face 5 years in jail if I don't give them the password to my phone. They've seized my phone. I can't get around London. I can't access my bank accounts. They were saying that if you don't give us the password to your phone, we can charge you with an additional 5 years sentence type thing, obstruction of justice. And, you know, the terrible thing is now my phone's in a London police station with my password open, and all my communications with my activist friends, dissidents, people who are in vulnerable states, Hong Kongers, Tibetans, Uyghurs, people who don't want to be named in public. I'm worried that the data from my phone may fall into malicious hands. I'm in such a distraught situation. I can't even describe how terrible this situation is, man. I mean, this is just an absolute nightmare. It's like I'm in a waking nightmare.
All this is on the back of a fake email, pretty much, of a fake email. And I was just speaking to my other activist friends saying, like, I mean, this Sunday, we've got a protest coming up, and it's a worldwide protest at 10 different locations. It's a Stand for Uyghurs program. And I'm thinking, they've got my name. They could easily just make up an email address, send a bomb threat as well. We're thinking police, UK, highly sophisticated. How could they just believe? Like, I'm sure they've already gone through your laptop and noticed that email doesn't belong to your IP address, blah, 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 blah.
Man, what I've come to realize is the UK is even worse than Australia when it comes to CCP influence. I mean, there's only been one newspaper in Britain that has run a story about what's happened here, despite the fact that I was held basically in detention illegally, in a secret detention because the Chinese embassy manufactured a bomb threat against me. And I'm in the most distraught situation in my life. One British newspaper has run a story. I mean, no British politician has commented. Both candidates in the leadership election for the prime ministership, Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, they're both out competing, trying to see who's the most anti-CCP among them. And yet no one is mentioning that right under their noses in London, peaceful human rights activists are being framed by the Chinese embassy. They're getting fake bomb threats hurled against them. And as a result, the Met Police is illegally detaining them. I mean, how can no British politician speak out? I've discovered Britain is the worst country in the world, probably for CCP influence. Just they're 5 years behind Australia in terms of the awareness of what's happening. Just people don't even realize how bad the situation is, how much money has seeped into London through, we know how much money goes into London through corrupt countries like Russia, like Saudi Arabia. Money is flowing into London through China as well. And this money is linked to CCP officials, the families of CCP officials. And no wonder they don't want to stop the gravy train from rolling. And that protest you mentioned, it's really sad, man. I'm in London. I would have loved to attend that protest. They're saying I can't even be in the same street as the Chinese embassy or I'll be arrested straight away. And so I don't know if I'm allowed to attend any more protests in London. My free speech has been completely curtailed. I can't even leave the country. I have nowhere to stay. I don't know what I'm going to do. This is just a nightmare. That the British police are doing the bidding of the Chinese Communist Party. I'm getting death threats from CCP supporters saying, I hope you're raped to death in prison. Your neck should be snapped. You're in the UK. The party is coming for you. The CCP is coming for you. I'm getting these death threats. My residence in London, where I'm currently couch surfing, my friend who I'm staying with, she took photos. There's someone outside there have been multiple women through the week taking photos of the address, taking photos of the door, milling about outside for hours at a time, filming the residence, filming the address, filming the door. I'm under surveillance. They're not even trying to hide it. They're actually just trying to terrify me. They're trying to show this is what we can do to you. Even if you're Australian, even if you're in Britain, we will apply the same criminal pressure repression tactics that we apply to activists all across China. We can apply them even extraterritorially in a country like Britain, which is supposed to be a democracy.
Or have the police done any? I've seen those threats. You put them on. Have they done anything about those threats? Looked into that?
The British police have done nothing about the death threats that I'm receiving. They've done nothing about the fact that there are people standing outside the residence I'm staying, filming the door, filming the residence. The fact that people are actually trying to intimidate me through surveillance. They've done nothing about the fact that there are people in Britain saying, you're in the UK, you're fair game, the party's coming for you, we hope you're raped to death in prison. They're doing nothing about that. I mean, the British police treated me like I'm a terrorist. They do nothing, while CCP supporters actually, celebrate my arrest online. Not just celebrate my arrest online, actively send death threats to my family, send death threats to me. They've done nothing to protect me, I feel so unsafe. It's ironic, man. I went to Ukraine in the first couple of weeks of the war to deliver food aid, to volunteer in a humanitarian capacity. I actually feel more unsafe in London, in peacetime London, as a human rights activist protesting against the CCP. I feel more unsafe in peacetime London than I did in war-torn Ukraine when I was delivering humanitarian aid. I feel less safe here because there are people who are surveilling my residence. They're taking photos of the place I'm staying in. They're filming the place for hours on end. The UK police are doing nothing. I'm getting death threats left, right, and centre. UK police are doing nothing. Meanwhile, the UK police have a 7-year prison sentence hanging over my head. They forced me to give over the password to my phone by saying, if you don't pass it over, you may face a 5-year prison sentence for obstruction of justice. Why do they want to download an image on my phone? Why do they want to have a copy of all my contacts with Uyghurs, Tibetans, Hong Kongers around the world? Why do they want that data to be sitting somewhere in the UK legal system? I don't trust it. This is the worst situation I've ever been in my life. I think UK is far worse than Australia when it comes to CCP influence. The Met Police are the most disgusting police force I've ever encountered in my entire life.
I think this, obviously, this is another subject, but I think the reason why they've been able to do this to you is because of their terror laws. They can just, they're out there, they can just go ahead and do it. But,
yes,
as mentioning before, should Uyghur activists like myself, Tibetan activists, Hong Kongers also be worried that this could happen to them?
This is the terrifying thing, man. This is the principle that they're trying to set. Yeah. They want Uyghurs, Tibetans, Hong Kongers to know, look, we can do this to an Australian in Britain, so we can do this to you. What is stopping them from doing it? I mean, any high-profile activist that the Chinese government and their supporters hate, what's stopping them from creating a fake email address and just sending off just the most insane of threats to some kind of institution, getting them swatted? This is like a nuclear SWAT-like tactic. You know how in the US, sometimes famous people, they get swatted? People maliciously call in a SWAT raid on their address. They say, oh, you've got to send a SWAT team. They're about to kill their wife. They're about to kill their family. And then just an innocent YouTube streamer or something like that will get SWAT raided. And people sometimes die as a result of these tactics. It's like someone done that on a nuclear-like scale, because I'm actually being accused of a terror offense in the UK. I'm not actually, I still have, I mean, I've got no protections whatsoever. They've got my phone. I have no idea where I'm going to stay. I mean, this situation could have been so much worse. My email itself, my genuine primary email address was hacked in January 2021. I mean, what if they had done this by hacking into my actual email address? I'd probably still be in the cell. Because they obviously created a fake email address. It's going to be ultimately easy for them to work out the IP address behind this fake email address. But what if they had done it with my own email address? They previously hacked it back in 2021. What if they'd done it with my own email address? I'd probably still be in a cell right now, man, 5 days later.
The Australian government, what are they saying about it?
Look, I'm very lucky that the Australian High Commission has spoken out for me. They've issued a list of questions to the Met Police asking why is Drew not being allowed consular assistance? Because when I was in that cell and they're holding me incommunicado, they wouldn't allow me to get in contact with the Australian High Commission. There's an emergency 24/7 consular emergency assistance line, and I was saying, let me get in contact with the Australian consulate, and they were saying, sorry, the consulate's asleep, they're closed in London, can't do anything. They were saying that they couldn't get me. I wasn't able to talk to a solicitor until 23 hours after my arrest, 22 hours after my arrest. They kept on saying, sorry, we can't put you through to your solicitors. None of them are picking up. Meanwhile, when I got out, the solicitors said we were on the phone well past midnight for hours and hours trying to get put through to you, and they wouldn't put us through to you. So they just were straight up lying. They were trying to deny me legal access. This is just an absolute disgrace, man. I really hope that Penny Wong and the Australian government can say more about what my situation, can speak up more forcefully for me, because I don't want people to just forget this. I don't want people to just, there's the initial burst of awareness, people sharing my story, and then I don't want people to just forget about this. I'm going to potentially be stuck in London for months. I have no money. I don't know whether I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to potentially be stuck in London for months, and I don't want people to just forget about this. They might raise awareness. They might share my stuff for 1 or 2 days. I don't want people to just forget this, because this could be something that goes on for months, even years. I'm not even sure when I'm going to be seeing my family again. My mum, I miss her so much. I miss my parents. I miss my dogs. I miss my loved ones. I just want to be home, man. I just want to be home. I don't want to be in Britain anymore. I don't feel safe. I want to go home to Australia. I want to go home to Australia.
Well, we'll try and share it as much as we can, depending on
Thank you, man.
the size of our network, and try and get regular updates. Make sure you guys go out and check out Drew Pavlou's Twitter page. That he's got a link tree on how you can support him. Let's end on a lighter note. Words of support. I'm sure you've got lots of it.
Yes, definitely, man. Definitely. I'm really glad for that. I mean, on one level, it's the darkest moment I've ever experienced in my life, but on another level, I am overwhelmed by the support I'm receiving from friends and family. I mean, people really are rallying behind me, and I just really hope people don't forget about this. They keep raising pressure, awareness, so I can just go home to see my family, man. I just want to go home to see my family, my dogs, my loved one. I just don't want to be in London anymore, man.
I know you can't speak to all of it, but what are the legal proceedings at the moment? What's the process? How much can you speak to that?
Well, they're saying that I have to stay in London until August 14, where I'm supposed to go to a police station. They're going to review my bail conditions. And man, I can't even afford to stay in London until August 14. I've got no money in my account. I've been couch surfing the entire time I've been in London. I don't have any accommodation. I don't have a safe place to stay in the long term. As I said, the place I'm currently staying has been under surveillance. They've had people outside watching and filming the whole thing for hours. I just need to go home, man. I just need to go home, because I don't think there's anywhere safe for me in London right now. And they want me to stay here to August 14 to review the bail conditions. I don't even know. I mean, that could just be the prelude for arresting me again. They might raid my residence, get more of my devices. I mean, I don't know how long they're going to drag this out for. I almost think that there's going to be an attempt by Met Police to just drag this out for years, just to torture me, just to basically destroy my name, destroy my reputation. Because the longer I'm fighting this, that means I'm not able to protest against the Chinese government to the same extent as I am, because I will be just fighting to defend my own name. I'll be just fighting to try and protect myself. They're very clearly trying to take me out of action here. The Chinese government is trying to eliminate me as an activist. They want me to be in a prison cell, and I just can't. I can't give up, man. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep going.
All right. Last question. Any regrets? I mean, did you ever think you'd ever be in this situation? In your activism?
Never in a million years did I ever think that I'd be arrested on a fake bomb threat, never in a million years, because that is not who I am. I've always been a peaceful activist, but no regrets whatsoever. I would never change a single thing I've ever done, because the Chinese government has for years now gone after me, my family. I got expelled from the University of Queensland. My family have received death threats. I've been assaulted in the streets. I've been arrested in Australia. They've dragged me through the mud. My life for 3 years now. At many times it's been like hell, but no regrets whatsoever, man. This is a righteous cause. I'm speaking out against a Holocaust. I'm speaking out against a genocide. I'm standing alongside, members of the Jewish community who are saying this is a new Holocaust. There are 1 million Muslims in concentration camps here. Uyghurs who are innocent. I've got friends with mothers in the concentration camps because they hacked my email accounts. I've got friends who have family members in the concentration camps. I've got friends in Adelaide, Australia, who had, grandparents tortured to death in these camps. And so what I'm going through is not even 0.1% of what the Uyghurs are going through. And so no regrets whatsoever. I must continue to speak out. I must endure everything that they throw at me. I've got to just keep speaking out no matter what. This is the cause of my lifetime. This is what I'm dedicating my life into. This is what I'm dedicating my entire life to. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. All human beings are created equal in the image of God. Whether you're Muslim, Christian, whether you're brown, white, Asian, whatever your race, whatever your background, whatever your sexual orientation, no matter what, I believe all human beings are equal. They have value, they have worth, they have dignity. They must be treated with basic respect. They must be free from torture, genocide, persecution, atrocities. And I'm speaking up against crimes against humanity. This is about my faith. This is about speaking up. If I had to silence myself, I couldn't be myself. I couldn't even live if I had to be silent. For as long as I'm speaking out, I'm alive. This is my life. There's no turning back, no regrets whatsoever. I will speak out against the Chinese Communist Party and its crimes against humanity for as long as there is blood coursing through my brain. As long as there is blood coursing through my veins and breath going through my body, I will continue speaking out against the Chinese Communist Party, no matter what they do to me. I mean, they're sending death threats right now. There are people saying, you're in the UK, you're fair game. We hope you're raped to death in prison. I want everyone to know I will never hurt myself. I will never, ever hurt myself. If anything ever happens to me, it was the CCP. And please, CCP, know this. The Chinese Communist Party must know this. If they try and hurt me, it will not silence the movement. It will not stop the movement, because if they hurt me, 1 million more Drew Pavlous will rise up in my place. There'll be 1 million more people radicalized to oppose the Chinese Communist Party forever. So we're going to keep speaking up against the most brutal genocidal government on earth, no matter what they do. Even if they try hurt me, even if they try jail me, 1 million more Drew Pavlous will rise up in my place. We are brothers and sisters in this fight. I'm very proud to stand right by you, Aslan. I'm very proud to stand alongside the Uyghur community. We may be of different backgrounds, we may be of different faiths, we may be of different cultures, but we are all human beings first. And God loves all people, regardless of their background, regardless of culture, regardless of religion, regardless of sexual orientation, no matter what. All human beings deserve the same basic protections, and we'll keep fighting for that beautiful world where all human beings have value, worth, and dignity and respect, and all brutal, tyrannical governments fall. That is the world I'm fighting for, and I will never, ever give in.
Okay, just your any other final words, and then how people can support you. I don't know if there's a GoFundMe page. You said you're having financial difficulties now because of this situation, and then we'll close it.
Listen, I'm going to probably start a GoFundMe in the next few days. It's a really hard position. I shouldn't let the CCP trolls get inside my head, but every single time, they're all going, "Oh, he's just doing this for money. He's going to start a GoFundMe soon." Man, look, I've got no money. I face the prospect of homelessness. I shouldn't let these CCP trolls get inside my head, but it's frustrating that they keep calling me this. They keep trying to pretend I'm some kind of corrupt guy, when in fact their finances are completely opaque. They're not disclosing who funds them. I'm just going to end by, I will start that GoFundMe probably in the next couple of days. I'm going to end by reciting the poem that got me through the 23 hours I was in that cell when my family didn't know me, didn't know where I was. I thought I could be in there for weeks. I thought I could be in there for months. It was a really dark time. I recited the poem over and over. Invictus by Nelson Mandela was inspired by that poem as well. And this is a poem that got me through it. Out of the night that covers me black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. We will never give in. I thank God. I thank God that I am still kicking. My soul can never be conquered. I will keep speaking out no matter what. Nothing they throw at me will stop me. I will endure everything. It's 0.0000001% of what the Uyghurs endure. And so I just got to keep speaking out no matter what. Thank you, brother. I'll keep fighting.
Thank you. I'm just going to close out the show. Don't go away after the credits because I want to just talk to you privately. Yeah.
No worries, man. Thank you so much.
Okay. Brothers and sisters, until next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ümit üzme aziz halqim, ümit üzme ey ana yurt. Biz atlandık bu güreşke, o yıl taştak uyuşup. Allah verse bu nusretni,